Hey everybody, this is Nick from First Coast Math Clinic. In this video, we're going to talk about coplanar and collinear points. Let's get into it. Let's start with coplanar points, and coplanar points are points that are located on the same plane. Let's illustrate what this would look like, right? So we know that our plane is going to be represented as a parallelogram, and we'll call this plane U, so we'll put U in the corner. So this is plane U. And let's put some points on this plane, right? So let's put point A, B, C, D, and E. Since these points are all on the same plane, these are all coplanar points. So if we want to identify our coplanar points, we could name them all if we want, A, B, C, D, and E, or any combination of these points are going to be coplanar points because they're all on the same plane, plane U. Now, what if we had a point outside of this plane, a point F out here? Well, now we could describe F's relationship to ABCDE as non-coplanar. And non-coplanar points are points that are basically not on the same plane. So for our non-coplanar points, we can identify a point F and any of the points that are inside this plane. So we point F and A, or F and C, F and point B. So any of these points are all non-coplanar points because point F is outside of this plane here, or plane U. Now, what about collinear points? Collinear points are going to be three or more points located on the same line. And we have to say specifically three or more points because we can make a line through any 2 points. So we have to say a minimum of 3 points to have collinear points. So I'm going to add a few more points here. I added points G, H, and I. And now if we want to identify some collinear points, well, we can draw a straight line through points E, G, D, and I. So if we want to identify our collinear points, we could say points E, G, D, and I are collinear. And we also have A, B, and H up here, so we can draw a straight line through A, B, and H. So points A, B, and H are going to be collinear as well. They're all 3 or more points on the same line. Now, if collinear points are 3 or more points located on the same line, we can describe like point C in relationship to A, H, and B as non-collinear points. And our non-collinear points are basically points not located on the same line. So let's find some non-collinear points here, right? So what if we do maybe G, B, and C, right? There's not one straight line that we could draw through those 3 points. So G, B, and C are going to be a set of non-collinear points. And what if we do maybe I, H, and C? We'll do C again. Because we can't draw one straight line through point H, I, and C. Those are going to be another set of non-collinear points. All right, let's do some examples where we identify our collinear and coplanar points. Okay, so for this example, so we've got our plane here, we've got plane Q. And let's start by just identifying some coplanar points. So coplanar points can be our points on the same plane. So we've got a number of points here. So maybe we could change the in color here so it makes it a little easier to see. We've got like point L, M, R. And could also do maybe like S, T, V, N. B, put down. Go. Yes. We could do like P, R, S, TV. So a couple different combinations of coplanar points that we can make, and we could also, if we wanted to put down every single point that's on this plane, we could also do that. Now, what about non-coplanar points? We know our non-coplanar points are points that are not on the same plane, so we got Y here and W here that are outside of our plane Q. So we can maybe pair W with any of the points that are inside our plane, so we could do a W and point N. So we can maybe do W and point N over here. Or we could do Y and we want to do point V. Or if we want to do again, maybe W and point O. So any set of points that are not on the same plane. All right, let's look at collinear points. Now for our collinear points, we want 3 or more. So we've got points right here, L, M, N, and O. They're all in the same line. We also have M, R, and P. Or what if we want non-collinear points? So we know that for any 2 points, we can make a line. So we want 3 or more points that we can't draw a line through. So what if we do maybe like V, and S, right? For those 3 points, we can't draw a straight line through M, V, and S. And then we do one more set. What if we do like point L, point P, and point R, right? There's no way we can draw a straight line that passes through L, R, and P. So LRP would be another set of non-collinear points. Okay, so let's say for this next example, we want to draw plane X, and then on plane X, we want to draw coplanar points Q, R, and T, collinear points T, U, V, non-collinear points T, S, and M, and then non-coplanar points N and B. So let's start by drawing our plane X. So we're going to draw it as our parallelogram. We'll put X in the corner. And now we want coplanar points Q, R, and T, so we can put those points anywhere in our plane. Now we want collinear points T, U, and V. So I want to take this point T and make it collinear to U and V. So let's do that. So we've got our 3 collinear points there. Now I want a non-collinear point T, S, and M. So we've got T here. Let's put point S right here, and then maybe point M over here. So there's not one straight line, one continuous line that we could draw through point T, point S, and point M. And now we want non-coplanar points N and B. So maybe I'll put point N on our plane, and I'll put point B off of our plane. All right, let's do one more example. So for our last example, we've got a bit of a 3-dimensional figure here. Well, we've got 2 planes, and we've got plane A here in red, and we've got plane B here in green, and they're intersecting here at this dashed line. So let's see if we can answer some questions based on the information that we have here. The first thing I want to do is I want to find all the coplanar points to this point L right here. Well, we notice that L is on point A, so what other points are on A? We've got point L, point M, we've got point X and Y, right? X is here, Y is here, still on our plane A, point O and N, and we also have T and S. T and S are on the intersection of plane B and plane A, so T and S are all going to be coplanar to point L. All right, now let's find all the coplanar points to point Q. So point Q is on plane B. So what else is on plane B? Well, we've got point R here. So we'll start with Q, point R. Again, we have T and S because they're on that line that intersects. But as our Y and X, so we can include Y and X, because they're on like right here and here on our plane B, which is the same plane that Q is on, so they're coplanar. And then we've got point U up here. All right, what about some collinear points? Well, we notice that we've got point Y, T, S, and X all on the same line, right? They're all on this intersection here. So our collinear, we can name Y, T, S, and X. Or what about non-coplanar points? In particular, let's look at maybe point O. What points are non-coplanar to point O? Well, A is on this, or excuse me, O is on plane A. So what points are not on plane A? So we've got point Q. We also have point R. And we have point U. But can we say like Y, T, S, and X are non-coplanar to point O? No, we can't because they're on the intersection of both of these planes. They're on the intersection of plane B and plane A. That's why we're including them in both of our planes, right? They're in, we look at like Y, X, T, and S, Y, X, T, and S. They're on both planes because they're on the intersection of plane A and plane B. So this video was on coplanar and collinear points. I hope this video helped you understand this concept a little bit more. If you like this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is Nick from First Coast Math Clinic.